Good evening and welcome everyone. We're excited that you could join us this evening. To ensure you're in the correct call, I wanted to clarify that the purpose of this meeting tonight is to solicit feedback on the design elements of the building that will replace the current Jesus Center. Before we begin, I wanted to walk you through a couple of the features of the platform that we're going to use tonight, which is called Zoom. Although Jamboree has had many experiences holding public meetings, this is our first time holding a virtual community meeting during an international pandemic when there's a shelter-in-place order. So we're going to do our very best tonight. And before we begin, we're going to just go through some logistics regarding Zoom. While viewing tonight's meeting, please keep your microphone muted. You can enable or disable your camera, and you're more than welcome to call in via phone. Please be aware that we are recording this meeting. And the way we're going to work through this presentation is we'll present and then we'll allow a question and answer and comment period at the end of the presentation. So if you have a question during the presentation, don't hesitate to enter it into the chat box, or if you'd like to provide comment at the end of the presentation. If you're on the phone, don't worry, you don't have access to the chat box, but we can unmute you at the end of the meeting during the question, answer, and comment period, and you'll have ample time to ask your question or provide us comment. With those logistics in place, I'd like to introduce the team that we have assembled tonight. Hold on a second, I'm having problems advancing the slide. There we go. I'd like to introduce the team that we have assembled tonight to present to you. My name is Jamboree Glasser-Hedrick, and I lead operation at Jamboree's Northern California office. I'm joined by Catherine McFadden, who's our Director of Acquisitions and Development, and Evan Sharp, who is the project manager of this project. Combined, the Sacramento Jamboree office has over 45 years of affordable housing experience in Northern California, and we plan to bring this experience to bear on this site. We're also joined by Mayor, and tonight he's acting in his capacity as the Executive Director of the Butte County Affordable Housing Development Corporation, who will be a partner to Jamboree on this redevelopment project. We're also joined by our community impact team, including Natalie Ryder, the Senior Director of Community Impact, and Danielle Lettieri, the Director of Supportive Services. Finally, we're also joined by Phil Harvey, the Principal of Kuchman Architects. Although the purpose of this meeting tonight is to talk about the design of the building, we also would like to introduce you to Jamboree. I know no better way to do this than to share Jamboree's mission and vision. Jamboree is a nonprofit community development corporation that was founded in 1990. Its mission is to deliver high quality, affordable housing and services that transform lives and strengthen communities. Our vision is that every person will live in a strong, healthy, and sustainable community. This mission and vision pervade everything that Jamboree does, from the relationships that we forge with our local partners to the design and care that we place in designing our buildings, to the way that we approach long-term asset management. Jamboree is headquartered in Irvine, California, and just expanded to Northern California in 2019, given their portfolio of projects in the Northern California region. We oversee 93 properties that include 9,000 units and service 18,800 residents. The populations of individuals that we serve are far-ranging. We have properties that serve families, seniors, those with special needs, homeless, and veterans. Our experience over the years helps us to innovate on proactive design, as well as provides us knowledge about the support services and resident services that are necessary in order to make our residents the best that they can be. All of Jamboree's properties are encumbered by long-term use agreements. And in contrast to other affordable housing developers, our business philosophy is to hold our properties for the term of those agreements. Given our long-term commitment to our projects, the quality of their craftsmanship and their design, our attention to operational sustainability, and the desire that each of our projects be an asset to the community are a priority for Jamboree. I wanted to provide you an example of one of Jamboree's projects in Northern California. And as you can see enumerated, it's called the Hotel Barry. It is a 105-unit SRO project in the heart and core of downtown Sacramento. Jamboree came to develop this property after a second place finish in a request for proposal that was released by the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency. Despite this, the first place winner was not able to proceed with the project, and Jamboree stepped in. Jamboree worked tirelessly with the redevelopment agency and the city to ensure both the resources were there to finance this project, which was very challenging because it was in the heart of the last downturn, and that we were able to complete renovations. It's an excellent example of Jamboree turning a dilapidated, underutilized building into a community asset that serves 105 single individuals in the heart of Sacramento. Despite Jamboree's significant experience, we recognize that we are new to the city of Chico. And accordingly, we forged a partnership with Ed Mayer and the Butte County Affordable Housing Development Corporation. And we plan to move forward with this Park Avenue redevelopment project in conjunction with Ed. I'd like to provide Ed a couple of minutes to say a little bit about the partnership with Jamboree.
Very good, Jeree. Thank you very much for that. We're very excited to have Jamboree come to Chico. Again, my name is Ed Mayer. I'm the president of the Butte County Affordable Housing Development Corporation. We're a nonprofit development entity that works in Butte and Glenn counties. We're affiliated with the Housing Authority of the County of Butte. You might know me otherwise as the director of the Housing Authority. But in this regard, Butte County Affordable Housing Development Corporation helps bring forward development projects we think are very important to the community. And some examples of the work we've done, right across the street, we have the 1200 Park Avenue apartments, which serves low-income seniors. We have the Walker Commons apartments on Button Willow Way over behind Safeway on Vallombrosa that serves seniors and disabled. And we have the Harvest Park apartments on East Avenue, just to the east of the old Osh hardware store, or to the west of the Osh hardware store, serving families. So we have local development experience. And our mission here is to provide, ensure quality, affordable housing to the community. In this particular case, we're so excited by having Jamboree here in the community and the project that is being proposed that we really wanted to be part of this development because it's serving probably one of the more important cohorts of the community that's underserved, that are singles. And most importantly, they're being served in a very supportive environment. Jamboree brings a set of skills to the community that Chico has not seen. So we're very grateful to have them here and very pleased to be working with them.
Thank you, Ed. We're going to dive into the objectives of this redevelopment project. And first and foremost, the idea is that we want to provide permanent affordable residence serving a range of incomes and populations. We want to further activate the Park Avenue corridor. We want to preserve the single family home that is currently owned by the Jesus Center, but part of the Jesus Center operations right now that fronts 12th Street. We want to address management and safety and security concerns over the long run, enhance the residential experience of individuals living in this property by ensuring quality of life improvements, reduce traffic, create a pathway forward for the Renewal Center to be the best that it can be through location of a new site that has broader geography and provides them the ability to provide more services to their clientele, and finally, to become an asset to this community. In terms of what we propose for this redevelopment project, it will include the demolition of the current Jesus Center structure, construction of a new 59-unit, 4-story multifamily residence with a community kitchen, leasing offices, and outdoor recreational area. It will include 20 studios, 3 one-bedrooms, 8 two-bedrooms, and 1 3-bedroom manager's unit, which will be the single-family home that is currently part of the Jesus Center operations right now. The project will be mixed income, spanning from housing authority voucher holders to residents earning 80% of area median income. Tenant population will also range from those with special needs to workforce housing for singles and small families. With that background about Jamboree and the project, I wanted to turn it over to Phil Harvey to discuss the design of what we propose for 1297 Park Avenue.
Thank you, Julie. We're very excited to be working with Jamboree in this project, and it fits with the mold. Kuchman Architects has been involved in building multifamily and affordable housing projects throughout Northern California for over 40 years. We've done work in the city of Chico previously, and we look forward to this as being a continuation of our work up there. Do we have the aerial? So I want to kind of, first of all, locate the parcel, the project site, so that we can all see. And as you can see, the current Jesus Center site is the white building right over there on the corner of East 13th and Park Avenue. So the Park Avenue on the south side, which is in the corridor opportunity zone with the city, which really calls for urban infill development of a scale that would be consistent with an urban corridor up to 60 feet, actually, which we're not quite doing. But we wanted to emphasize that, and we went through the city's design guidelines manual, and really focused on, you know, what could this project be, and recognize the fact that we have a fairly low-rise residential neighborhood to the north of us. But as you'll see as we go through it, we're really rebuilding the new building on the existing Jesus Center building site. The area behind us that's currently the kind of parking area, we're going to redevelop as the parking, and it'll have trees so that it'll kind of buffer the entire height of the building from the neighborhood to the north. And then, as you can see on each side of it, the commercial corridor is really pretty well emphasized in this aerial, with the building, our building at the corner. And then right across the street, of course, is the excellent project that Ed worked on. So we feel that the keeping and the urban infill nature of what we're doing here is what we really do quite a bit of throughout, from the Bay Area, in Sacramento, obviously, Chico, and in Redding. So we've been involved in a lot of the projects that do those. So that's kind of the layout of the site and where it is. And you can see in here the commercial properties to the east and the west, the single family home, which is kind of underneath the tree there on East 12th Street, right in that location there. So that's the site. Next slide. So this is the site plan that we've generated. And the property itself is kind of this, if you could trace the property outline, Drew, that would be helpful. So that's the larger site where the Jesus Center building currently is. So that's our 4-story building that's put on there. There's a 10-foot setback along the perimeter on the street side. And then on the north, we have the north parcel that is predominantly going to be landscaped and parked, so that we have landscaping between it and the street. And there are 2 entries to get into there. There's one on Locust and one on East 13th Street. We will have no access to the project site from East 12th Street, so we won't be doing that. And then the single family home that's over there will be redeveloping the back area as community garden and other uses. The The site itself includes the 4-story building in a C shape. The center of that C is an outdoor courtyard area for the use of the residents, and it's being programmed to have, it has an outdoor barbecue and grill, and it's really meant, and a dog area, and then an undefined kind of outdoor recreation area that you can do various things in. And it's really meant to be a gathering spot for the community in a safe environment. And it will be obviously shaded by the building considerably. The reason that we put the building down on the side was not only is that to get the mass of the building away from the neighborhood, but we actually have a sewer easement that runs right through the center of the site, right there where the red ball's going now. That area has a sewer line in it that if we wanted to build all the way across and onto East 15th Street, 13th Street would be extremely expensive. So the idea was to take the mass and bulk of the building, move it closer to Park Avenue, further away, and then avoid redoing the sewer easement, and we can get the number of units that the performer required, and then have the parking on the north, which would be fairly landscaped and tree to step down to the neighborhood. On the front of the building, you can see right here, and we'll go to the plan in a minute, we have the community area, which is really on the corner of Park Avenue and East 13th Street. And that will have the active community rooms that look out onto the street to help connect the project to the street. So that's very important in the urban environment, that you can see what's going on in the building, and those will be very active areas during the day, and that people inside can see what's on the street. So eyes on the street to help with security and those kind of benefits. And this is the first floor of the building, so you can see how that kind of works. The entry to the building is on Park Avenue, which is a transit corridor in the city, as well as having bicycle connections. So we wanted to emphasize those two elements, so by placing the main entry to the building there. But you can see the community center, the computer facility, and all of those are right there on the street that have a storefront that look out so that people can see back and forth. And then the courtyard, you just go straight out the back into the courtyard, and there will be a connection through the court area into the building for the parking. We also have a long-term bicycle storage that's located back there that we will have for the residents as well. The remainder of the site, the ground floor, we have some utility rooms and some things like that we have to have, but there's also units that are on the ground floor that have patios and that open up so that, again, there's more visibility of what's going on the street and connecting more to the pedestrian way. Next. So the building, when we looked at the design of the building, it is a 4-story building and it is up. What we tried to do was to bring a layering both horizontal and vertical to bring the mass of the building down. In the design manual for the city of Chico, we did focus on the contemporary design, which is one of the design themes, if you will, that is recognized in the manual. So what we've also done is we've provided a base, a middle, and a top to the building. And then we've broken it down vertically and horizontally by the use of colors and some articulation of the building that goes in and out, as well as having on the ground floor at the pedestrian way, we have a brick base of the building that's right in that area. And then, which is bricks are more of a pedestrian material. It's modular, it breaks down, and it's more of a durable, long-lasting material. Above there, we're using cement plaster. We have metal railings. We're using some Juliet-type balconies in the studios that will provide a little bit more relief on the facade of the building. And then we're also using the larger units have balconies that are recessed in to have some positive and negative space going on the fronts of the facades of the buildings as well. The top of the building, you know, we have a variety of parapet heights to try and break that down. And what that does is kind of breaks the building down into distinct kind of vertical elements as you go down the street. The entry of the building is the middle feature where the red is. And the brick itself, which is really hard to see at this scale, but it is a red brick that's down on the bottom. And then there is an awning canopy that comes out to form the entry and protect the entry as well. Next, we'll go to some three-dimensional images of the building so you can kind of see how this is a much better way to show how the building moves in and out. as you go down the street, and how it helps to break up the scale, the mass of the building. The one up on the top is looking from the northeast towards the building. You can kind of see so that would be the alley basically right there where the sewer line is. But that's the courtyard in the middle. And because the building is 4 stories in height, we're using white in the courtyard to brighten it up. We don't want it to be all dark. And then as you move around the building, we use various different colors, mostly in the kind of sage color, the reds and the white to kind of break up the mass and the volumes of the building. The lower one is from the southeast looking towards the building. So that would be the corner, that would be Park Avenue on the left and East 13th on the right. And the center, you can see the canopy at the entry on Park Avenue coming out from the building. And then the units with the balconies that are pushing in, plus the balconies coming out at the Juliet balcony locations. And you can see the red brick base that's happening here that kind of helps to ground the building. So we have a base, we have a middle, and then we have a top to the building. Next. I think the one on the upper right, the aerial view, is a really good way to show how the building kind of articulates both horizontally and vertically. You can see the C shape of the building, the courtyard in the middle, and then you can see how the various elements come from the base through the building and up. And then the other visions are just showing you how, as you walk around the building. The one on the left on the top is the north view that's actually looking directly into the courtyard. You can see the entry there, and then how the courtyard kind of embraces people as they come in. The one on the left is taken from the northwest looking towards the building. And then the one on the right is from the southwest looking towards the building. So it's a 4-sided building. We've tried to articulate each one of the facades of the building so that, it's going to be there. Most of the development on the east side is pretty low scale, but so they'll still have a very attractive building to look at.
So thanks so much, Phil. I'm sure there are questions regarding the design, but again, we're going to hold the questions until the end of the presentation. So what I'd like to do at this point, introduce Danielle Lettieri, who is the Director of Supportive Services at Jamboree, to walk you through Jamboree's approach to ongoing asset management and resident services.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. As Drew mentioned earlier, Jamboree, we are a long-term active owner. We're owning our projects for at least 55 years. So maintaining our asset is very important, and encouraging and empowering our residents' lives is of the utmost importance, to us. So based on our 30 years of experience in this field, we've really come to figure out what is the effective formula to run these sites and maintain them and manage them successfully. So this really is the answer to the lack of affordable housing for an underserved population that Ed was talking about. So really the important thing we found is Jamboree oversight and coordination. This is through our professional asset management team, our on-site services team, and our third-party professional property management. This team is tightly integrated so they can be consistently monitoring the site and making sure it's effectively managed. This goes from bi-weekly meetings with these teams, making sure that everything on the physical site and everything with the residents is running smoothly and going well, to outcome measures. Every single Jamboree property has specific outcome measures that it needs to be hitting for us to consider it successful and to be hitting all the standards across the United States for these projects. And then we're also doing quarterly inspections. We have a very high Jamboree standard. We want to make sure that the project is looking the way that we expect it to. Through this, we also have a resident services plan. This is key for managing this successfully. So the Park Avenue site will have a specific, unique plan based off of the residents that will be moving into our site. So we really look at who's moving in, what are their needs, what services are they going to need, what are they interested in. It's really taking the design and location. We have that outside courtyard. We have this indoor services space. We're in a downtown area. We really take that into consideration, this services plan, so we can make sure that we have all the effective programmings that we need on site. And then we're really looking at the local community. What resources are in the community? I've been up to Chico now about 5 times. I think it was last year this time I started making trips up there. throughout the summer. I hope it's not too hot there. I was very surprised by that when I was up there. But we start meeting with those local community partners of saying who we can partner with. We're not experts of the area. We want to make sure we can bring in other community partners. Next slide. So what are the actual resident services going on? All research shows that a service-enriched environment is what makes these sites successful. It's not just permanent housing. It's not just services. It's services combined with housing to be effective and to make the change. So we are going to have an on-site services coordinator who works one-on-one with residents, overseen by a manager. They'll be on-site, located in Chico, 5 days a week. And really what they're doing is they're making referrals to available services and programs in the community that the residents might need to meet their goals in life. We're coordinating social and community building activities. So that looks anything from a bingo night to a holiday party to recreation. We really want our population to take ownership and pride in their community. We find that when that community is built, they take better care of the building and really make it their own. We deliver health and wellness services, and then we work with these outside partners that I was talking about to bring educational classes on site. That can be anywhere from a coding class to a cooking class to a GED class. It looks different at every site we are. It really just determines on who's in our building and what their needs are. Our overall goal as our resident services team is to make sure that our residents have a permanent place to live that is affordable for them, where they can really achieve their goals and live their best life.
Thanks so much, Danielle. Next, we're going to turn the presentation over to our development team in Northern California, Catherine McFadden and Evan Sharp, to answer a couple more specifics about the property that we're proposing.
Hi, I'm Evan Sharp, a project manager. One of the things we're really excited about with this project is its location, right in the middle of the Park Avenue corridor at the gateway of downtown. We think the location offers residents great access, whether walking or biking, to numerous amenities and other service needs in the immediate area. For those that don't walk or bike, there's a beeline stop right outside the front door, as well as easy access to numerous rideshare potential. As such, we've placed 43 parking spaces on the property. I think it provides ample space for assigned resident parking, but as well as guest parking, with the focus of really trying to keep all traffic to the property on the property. In addition, just given the location and ease of access to bike to destinations in the area, we've provided 58 bike parking spaces to ensure that every unit has access to one bike parking space at the least.
Hi, I'm Catherine McFadden. So happy to be here tonight. I'm going to speak with you about security. So security and safety are a priority and an extremely important part of the design and operations of Jamboree communities. This community will have many security features, including a gated entry at the main entrance of the building on Park Avenue and a gated entry into the courtyard at the back of the building. There will be visitation protocols for non-residents that will be enforced by on-site management staff. And the community will have a robust security camera system that will have cameras throughout the property in key areas that on-site staff can monitor during business hours, and it also has backup video recordings. The property will have professional management company with deep experience managing affordable housing communities and a full-time property manager who will live on site. Jamboree as a long-term owner ensures that there are strong relationships between our resident services and management staff. And Jamboree understands that security and safety is key to resident enjoyment and being a good neighbor. Next slide. Timeline is always very important in the development process. Today we are here to discuss the design of Park Avenue apartments. And the next step is for the project to go before the Architectural Review Board on June 3rd for entitlements approval. This is a very important step as it allows the project to apply for funding. And funding is also a very important part of the development process. This project has a unique opportunity to access special funding from the federal government that is being provided to the state to assist counties that have been declared disaster areas. Butte County has been allocated a portion of this funding known as disaster credits that will be administered through the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee via a competitive application process. The tax credit application is due on July 1st, which is a short time away. We feel confident that our application will be successful and receive an award of tax credits this fall, which would start the clock ticking to get the project ready to start construction, which is anticipated in spring of 2021. The construction and lease-up timeline is approximately 16 to 18 months, and Jamboree anticipates opening doors to welcome new residents by winter 2020. We're really excited about this project, and I'm going to turn it back over to Dree.
Thanks, Catherine. That concludes the prepared remarks that we have to share with the group tonight. To the extent you have questions of me, you're more than welcome to email me directly at the email address provided. I also wanted to provide clarity that this project has a page on the Jamboree website. And to the extent you want to keep up on the project, you can always visit the website provided in the slide. We will also post today's presentation. And there's also a portal to ask questions, and we will respond to those questions and post the answers on this site as well. So hopefully this will be a really valuable resource for you as this project sneaks through the development process. And on that note, we'd like to open the conversation to dialogue and questions to provide clarity regarding the project and Jamboree and the design.
So this is Natalie. Hi, everyone. I'm a Senior Director of Community Impact for Jamboree, and I'm happy to help moderate question and answers. So right now I have everyone muted, but I do want to make sure that this is a community meeting with community voices heard. So if you do have a question, please send a chat to everyone. We don't have anyone on the phone right now, so if you are able to, you can either send your question through the chat box, or if you just want to say me or type a letter, and I will unmute you so that you can ask your question. So I'll take a few moments, and if that doesn't work, I'll actually just unmute everyone and see if that's an easier way to access any questions. But right now I don't have any in the chat box, so just wait. Oh, okay. Here we go. So I have Kent O'Shea. Hold on one moment, sir. I will unmute you.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So I live behind the property at 1217 Locust. My question was, will the whole area be fenced? And also, what is the landscaping going to be like around the area? Because having lived here for a number of years, I've had to deal with what I will call career homeless people who will hang out because there's grass and it's a friendly landscaping around the area. So I'm just wondering, once this project is done, what I will expect, with that. I know just having this project come in is going to be great for our community. And I do really appreciate that you guys are coming in. And I do appreciate everything the Jesus Center has done and will keep doing, in regards to the community and what you guys are doing. But I'm wondering what you guys are going to do to mitigate a lot of the problems we've had here in this area.
Great. Thanks. And before we answer, there was a note, if people are searching for the chat function, it's at the bottom of your screen. There's a little bubble of chat. So thank you for that question. So I will pass it on to the team. I'm guessing Phil or Catherine.
Phil, do you want to take a
Well,
shot?
I can talk a little bit about that. Landscaping wise, so I should mention that we do have a local Brian Firth, Firth Landscape and Architecture, working on the project, and he's the one that came up with the plan. So the parking area itself will not be gated, but we are planting a bunch of trees back there, and we will also be planting, there will be no lawn, it will be mostly trees and shrubs, things that people can't sit and loiter on or things like that. We'll also have cameras, and we'll be able to monitor what's going on back there so that there's no, we can control the loitering if that should happen. But what we usually find, and we do a lot of work in urban areas such as this that have issues related to people who are just loitering out around, and we try to design the building. There's a few things we have to do because of the CTIP, the police departments want you to do landscaping in the way in which they can see through and see what's going on so that people aren't streaming. But we do plan a lot of low shrubbery around the perimeter of the parking area. We'll have a lot more trees, which will also help to screen it. And then we will have people who will be able to watch out there. I think one of the problems with the Jesus Center and the loitering is that they really don't have visibility about what's going on around the perimeter of the building. And this building will have a lot of eyes on the street, and people will be able to see what's happening. So I think that's a big way to help clean up a lot of the loitering that's going on.
Yeah, it's where I'm at in the back, there's low visibility, so that's good to hear.
Right. So we're going to improve that, so that what's going to happen is that the shrubs will have to be kept below 36 inches, and the trees will have to be pruned up to 6 feet so that people can see in there. And when you do that sort of thing, and there's no place for people to kind of loiter and hide, it really helps to keep that from happening.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So we have a comment from Carrie Welch saying she's a neighboring property owner and pleased with the overall design. Well done. Thank you. Mike Trolander is asking, is bike parking secure? Indoor, outdoor bikes disappear? So Mike, I'm going to unmute you too if you want to elaborate. But I think I know that Evan, you were talking about the bike, this space where there are going to be bikes.
Yeah, there's actually a specific bike room, if you will, kind of designated there off the courtyard area that residents can kind of easily walk their bike to along an improved pathway, and then park their bike securely in this sort of gated resident-only access room.
Great. So Mike, did that answer your question? Do you have?
I think I heard that right. So it's indoor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
Great. Okay, so we have a question about sustainability plans for solar panels and then drought-tolerant native plants landscaping. So let me unmute. This is an iPhone. Let me find you in case you want to, oops, the wrong person, but. So question about solar panels and drought-tolerant native plants.
Yeah, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so right, those are two examples that come to my mind of, I didn't hear a lot about just sustainable practices in whatever, just in terms of climate change, in terms of how we need to reduce our carbon footprint and what has been taken into account in this plan. Or has it been? Is there a plan for solar? Is there a plan for the kind of landscaping that will use less water and produce more oxygen?
Great.
So I can start. So yes, those elements have definitely been considered. There will be solar PV. We're still determining the load. There will be an offset to the residents. There will also be a solar preheat for the hot water. It is our intention to always utilize kind of the native and drought tolerant landscaping to the greatest extent. And there's other measures, sustainable building measures such as low E windows, a higher level of insulation, a cool roof. We're also using a mini split system, which are very high efficient systems that can cool rooms individually, and they're also very efficient. So those are just some of the few measures that we're implementing in the design.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I haven't myself. It helps. It's good.
Well, I was just going to mention too, landscaping, we will be low water usage, but it will be plant materials that are approved by the city of Chico for that type of landscaping, and it'll all, so we'll be planting in an environmentally friendly way as well.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, I have Debbie V next, who has a question. A few questions. Yes.
Well, really the design is wonderful, and thank you for the opportunity to provide some feedback. A little background, Jeree knows I am in the affordable housing field, been in the field for 31 years. So congratulations to your organization and your partners for bringing forward the project. I know how difficult it is. But I just have a few follow-up questions. Are you going to be allowing pets? And also, are you going to be talking about trying to increase, since you're talking about that local bus stop, are you going to try to increase the public transportation circulation? I know that's an issue sometimes with folks utilizing the buses and the slow circulation of the buses coming by. And in your offsite designs, are you including some bike lanes to make it safer and easier for the tenants to transition into in and out of the apartment complex? And just curious about the type of lighting that will be utilized to help as far as safety, and also trying to downlight so you're not intrusive to the neighbors. So, but anyways, overall, a really wonderful design, and excited about the project. Thank you.
Great. I have a big yes for pets from, I'm seeing head nodding. So
we actually have a little pet pad area in our design. If you look a little bit more specifically into the site plan, you'll see that it's called the dog park. So we're very pet friendly. I did want to talk about the circulation and the bike lane question. So we have had conversations with city staff in regards to, the increase of the timing of the buses for higher, frequencies, and the bike lane as well. Currently that's not in a requirement of conditions of approval for our design. However, I think it is, it's important, and will be in ongoing discussions. Oftentimes the cities take on they get funding for bike lanes, or they perhaps get other funding to get an additional electric bus, and then they can increase the headways. So just so you know, we're engaged in those conversations. This particular project isn't, again, not going to have that part of it, but it is something that we'd work with the city if say there was funding available to facilitate something like that, and something we have discussed with the city.
all right, Debbie, you feel like you had your questions answered?
I think just the type of lighting you'll be utilizing.
That's a Phil question.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah. So our parking, we'll be meeting the ordinance of the city of Chico for the reduced night sky intrusion. The parking lot lights will be all LEDs, and they point down. They will be probably dimmable when they're not out there. And then we also do have a lighting in the courtyard itself, and will be low lighting basically to create, so that we're not uplighting and creating problems with that. And there will be lighting around the building as well. So we're trying to do everything we can to make it safe for both the neighborhood and the residents.
Wonderful.
Without intruding.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Wonderful design, and thank you all for your hard work.
Thanks.
Thank you for the comment on the design.
All right, so Danielle, we had a question about the specific health services mentioned from Sandy. So let me find Sandy and unmute her as well. So Sandy, I don't know if you wanted to elaborate, or Danielle can definitely speak to the types of services, health services that might be there.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is, especially, we have a general idea and a general plan of physical health, mental health, nutritional health, all these broad areas. And once we get the residents in, we're going to do a lot of questionnaires and needs assessments to really get down to the specifics. But really what I see happening is we work with a lot of nutritionists who come and teach healthy living, healthy shopping, healthy cooking. We'll bring in yoga classes, meditation classes, anything for stress and anxiety reduction. That is always a very big one on our sites. Sometimes we'll partner with local agencies. I'm not as familiar with Chico obviously yet, but down here at some of our sites in Orange County, we'll bring in a local, like kind of a physical health van. So they'll come onto our site in one of the parking lots for a day and can do physicals or dental health or eye exams, low charge for our folks. So we'll really look at the specific needs on site and then try to go out in the community to meet those needs. And if we can't find someone in the community, we'll go internally and see what we can do internally to offer that. So it's really the gambit.
Great. Yeah, I'll unmute you one real quick, Sandy, if you did want to mention anything else. I think you're muted. Okay. So if you have other questions, you can chat too. So Lauren Kennedy, she asks, are any of these going to be affordable to extremely low income residents, 0 to 30% AMI? And are we going to be applying for project-based vouchers? Or let me find you.
Well, I'll take that question. We have secured an allocation vouchers for this project. So 43 of the 58 residents will have vouchers from the Housing Authority. And they will likely have incomes that, you know, range, but the range could be as broad as, you know, earning a very nominal amount to upwards of 50% of area median income.
Lauren, did you have any other questions? Anything related to that?
No, just so to clarify, so 43 of the units will be set aside for vouchers, but they won't run with the units. They'll just be placed by Section 8 holders through the Housing Authority, is that right?
No, it will be a project-based contract that will be executed between the Housing Authority and the ultimate partner, the limited partnership that will own the parking site.
Awesome, thank you. And also just echo that I really like the design. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a question. Bryce, let me find you and unmute you.
Hi, my name is Bryce Goldstein. Yeah, echoing what some of the other people said, I'm glad to see this project is coming into our neighborhood. I had a couple questions mainly about the design. Also really like that there's going to be bike parking. I think it's a great location. I love that it's affordable. I was wondering if the balconies on the front are functional at all, like if somebody can open the door, or also if the windows in the design are functional.
Sure. Yeah, I can answer it. So there's two types of balconies. So the ones that you can kind of see in the rendering on the left that are white on the inside, we like to do those in a light color so that it brings light in. Those are recessed into the building, and those tend to be the 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. The studio units themselves, because they're fairly small, what we do is that we're creating the entire studio unit itself becomes a balcony. They have sliding doors that will open, so, and all the windows will be operable, by the way. But those doors and those Juliet balconies actually help to make the whole room feel like it's a balcony. So yes, it's all functional, and people will be able to go out onto the balconies and enjoy looking out over the street, which is really important because not only do we have eyes on the street for security and everything from the ground floor, but we also have people that will sit up on their balconies or at their windows, and they'll be able to see what's going on. So it's helpful for both the residents and the neighborhood itself. So yes, it's all functional.
That's great to hear, because the 1200 Park apartments across the street have really great balconies, and I love that people actually use those. And like you said, eyes on the street, people put their plants on them. So that'll be really great to have functional openings. I would like to see the balconies recessed a little more, but having a balcony at all is really great.
Well,
Have you?
I know you don't get up in Chico, like in Sacramento, we get the Delta breeze, which is really great in the evening. You can open the doors up and everything, and really, but you get some of that too up in Chico. So I think that's important in the summer.
I was also wondering if this is the final design as far as things like colors and materials, because I have a few ideas, my own self, of what I would like to see. I think it's looking good. It could be a little better as far as brighter colors and things.
Brighter colors? Yeah, okay.
Echoing the 1200 Park style across the street.
Well, we do have some of that. We have the red in here that they have across the street. And so, yeah, I mean, we certainly can take a look at some of those. That's, if you express.
Just to answer your question, it's not the final design. We are taking input, and there may be potential changes.
Great, that's great to hear. What are other ways that the community can voice their input? I know you have the website with the comment box. Just wondering if I can spread the word to other neighbors.
So I believe a notice is going to be sent out within a certain radius distance for the Architectural Review Board. And I would certainly, depending upon where we're at, if that would be a in-person meeting, I think it is. I think Dexter is on the line from City, but we would welcome you to join that meeting and to come with your comments. It is a public meeting. And I think that's another venue that you can provide your input and comments. And that's
great. Thanks so much.
Okay, I'm just, let's see. We have now Elizabeth. She had a question about kitchen facilities in each apartment and laundry facilities.
That was it. Is there a small kitchen in each apartment? I heard about the community kitchen, but does that mean that, well, anyway, it's a different kind of facility from what I had imagined.
Yeah, each apartment has a fully functioning kitchen. It's a standard kitchen. We don't have a small, it's not a small kitchen, it has standard size appliances. And each apartment will have a full size kitchen. We do have centralized laundry facilities in the building. And those also help to create interaction between residents to use those facilities. And I think we're planning those on the 2nd and the 4th floor.
Oh.
Yeah. And I can just touch on the community kitchen. We use the community kitchen a lot in our programming. So if we're doing like cooking clubs or a cooking class or any of our community events, we'll use that kitchen in the big open space for groups. And so we can serve all of our residents. So it's not for them to come in and use, since they have the kitchens in their own apartments. It's really for more of those community events and a teaching kitchen.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. So Deborah has a question about 12th Street with the traffic issues. So Deborah, I've unmuted you. You're asking how we mitigate the situation through City of Chico street engineer. Will there be speed bumps, stop signs?
Right, right. It's a huge issue already, and with that many people living, even if half of them have cars, this is a freeway out here, day, morning, noon, and night. And we've had surveys done. We've talked to the police department. They come out when they can. They're very busy, and all we need is like a through stop in the middle between Mulberry and, where we turn left, you turn left onto Locust there. Somewhere, something has to stop this freeway traffic that we have. And this is a beautiful project. We are very excited. We want to make reservations. But we're really concerned about the traffic. That is our #1 issue here.
So I can take a quick shot. Deborah, thank you for your comments. As part of our funding, we go through an environmental process, and one of those processes looking at impacts and looking at impacts to traffic. So that will be in one of our studies as we move forward through our funding approvals and approvals with the city. I hear your concern right now. Currently, there is, again, that's kind of more of an offsite type of project, but we hear your concern and we'll be discussing this with our partners at the city as it moves through, and if there's some way we can help mitigate it. But just for you to know that it is under, a traffic impact is under review pursuant to the reports that we do. And we're required to find a no significant impact in certain areas, traffic being one. So just to know that this is being considered as part of the process.
Thank you. Perfect. Beautiful project.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Dexter O'Connell with the City of Chico. I'll just add to that a little bit that we will be reviewing the traffic impact of the project as part of the process. I would say that since the parking lot is not attached to 12th Street in any meaningful way, it's unlikely that this project in particular will lead to improvements on 12th Street in terms of the way that this will flow, because that's not the way that the traffic impacts from this project are going to be felt. But that doesn't mean that that isn't something that we're considering as part of our broader understanding of how the city is growing and developing. And so 12th Street is a focus of our traffic engineers' concerns right now. I actually spoke to them about that not 2 weeks ago. So that is on their radar, although it may not necessarily be addressed by this particular project.
Okay, but Dexter, that is the East 12th Street it runs parallel with 8th and 9th Street, and it is already used as an alternative. And people will be coming down from 9th and also 8th, and they will come down East 12th Street to make a left onto Locust. It will definitely impact East 12th Street. They're not going to come in. Everyone doesn't come in from Park. They come in from the back, because your parking lot is at the back of your building. The parking lot is not on Park Avenue.
Yes, ma'am. And that's certainly something which is being studied as part of the process. I'm just saying that the kind of mitigation measures that we would expect from the project are not likely to happen on 12th Street. I want to be honest with you about the circumstances, that if any traffic mitigation measures are put in place as part of this project, which is something that we're considering and studying right now, it's not likely that they'll be on 12th Street directly related to this project. We would expect to see those as part of a more holistic review, which our traffic engineers are in the process of undertaking.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
No. Good.
Thank you, Dexter.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't have any more questions in the chat box. However, in case you were unable to access the chat box, or you're on a device that you're unable to type, I'm going to, for a moment, unmute everyone. So you would have the option to unmute yourself at this point. So if you do have a question, please feel free to share it.
Go on.
I had a question about, not a question, but a comment on the architecture.
Yes.
Can you hear?
Yes, this is Sandy. Yes.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's wonderful. I think Phil and his team have done a marvelous job of breaking up the massing of the building, both vertically and horizontally, using different materials, different colors. The only thing that I could offer would be, we are in a historic neighborhood. I'm part of a historic group in town and also an architect. And it seems like you could probably add a little more historic reference, possibly. I know you're showing some cornices there. Maybe those be a little more pronounced. I wish I had a picture of the 1200 Park Avenue in front of me right now because I think they did an amazing job of responding to the neighborhood, because it is one of the historic neighborhoods in Chico. So it is just a minor comment. I think overall you've done a fabulous job. I think this project's going to be wonderful and a huge improvement to the neighborhood. So that would be my only comment.
I'd like to second that.
Hi, could I ask a question? I don't know if I'm muted or not.
We can hear you, Elizabeth.
Yes, I am. I'm curious about the private home that you said was on 12th. What is the relationship? Is that, does this corporation own it? And are they going to be using their backyard as part of your project?
The Jesus Center currently owns a single family residence, and that's what we're referring to. Jamboree has included that parcel in our purchase and sale agreement, so we intend to incorporate that into our the design of what will replace the current Jesus Center.
I'm sorry. So is the caretaker going to live there? That's what I don't understand. Is it going to be used as an office or?
No, it will be, the manager will reside in that home, the manager of the property.
Oh, okay.
And then there'll be a community garden in the rear home.
I'm sorry? Will they give up their backyard? That's what
Yes, that will be part of the project. It will be a community garden and incorporated into the project.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Thank you.
I had a question about children's play area. I didn't hear that mentioned. Is there a plan for a play area for children?
So due to the unit mix, it's primarily studios and 1 bedrooms with a few 2 bedrooms. So due to the constraint of the site and time, we have outdoor space that can be activated. There's not a particular play structure in the courtyard, but there will be plenty of open space for children to have, you know, we're going to have picnic benches and tables. We're thinking maybe of some game tables. So we definitely want to encourage interaction of all of our residents for all ages, but there's not going to be a actual play structure in that courtyard, but there will be open space for play as well as interaction to promote, again, community in that courtyard.
So there's going to be very few families, it sounds like. About how many families do you expect to be part of this mix?
So we don't know exactly who until we lease up and it's resident by resident. As earlier mentioned, 43 of the 58 units will come off the wait list from the Housing Authority. And historically, this has been singles, and it also has been brought to our attention through the city that there's a need for housing for individuals as well as small families. And that is our response with this unit mix and design to respond to those things.
And I will add to that, Catherine, that indoor in our community space, in our community rooms, once we do have the population mix and how many kids we do have on site, we will make those spaces kid-centric, and we can bring in after-school programs and things of that nature that we do at some of our other sites into this project if we need them for the population. So it's a really versatile space that we can really bring in the different design elements and activity spaces as needed. So it's pretty flexible.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to also commend you on a very creative, imaginative, sensitive design. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Natalie, does there appear to be anybody else wanting to provide feedback?
You're muted, Natalie.
I did the thing I've been trying so hard not to do and trying to help everyone. Thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to share, there's no more questions in the chat box. You have Jury's contact information on the website, and then Dexter wanted to share his contact information before the end of the meeting. So Dexter, if you want to take a moment.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to share that. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Dexter O'Connell, and I'm an associate planner with the city. This project is my responsibility on the city end now. And I would love to hear from you. So I'm going to say my telephone number and my email address, and then I'm going to type both of those things in the chat box so that everybody has them from me and can feel free to send me any commentary that you might have or questions. And if you would like to receive the information about the Architectural Review and Historic Preservation Board meeting when that comes up, it will be virtual. Not sure exactly what the date is going to be yet. We're working on that. But I would love to receive an email from you so that I can include you on the contact list from this. So my phone number is area code 530-879-6810. And my email address is my first name Dexter dot my last name O'Connell, OCONNELL. There's an apostrophe in my name, but not in my email. So dexter.o'connell@chicoca.gov. And like I said, I'll put both of those things in the chat box right now. I look forward to hearing from you with questions, comments, or concerns, or if you're just interested in attending the Architectural Review and Historic Preservation Board meeting when it comes around. So thank you very much to applicant for this opportunity to share this message with the folks who are in this meeting, and thank you to everyone who's attended this meeting for attending and participating. It's critical to have an engaged community to do the work that we do at the city, and I thank each and every one of you for coming out to this and look forward to seeing you at the ARHPB meeting. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dexter. And we had a comment saying that if folks in this meeting are in support of this project, it does really help to attend the Architecture Review Board meeting. And I'm assuming it is a virtual meeting, but I'm sure Dexter can share if it is or not. So,
Natalie, I believe he said that it will be virtual meeting.
Thanks, Catherine.
Right. So on that note, if there are no further comments, the development team wants to thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate all the feedback, and we really look forward to working with you and this project moving forward. We're really excited, and as you know, we step through different hurdles in the development process, the reality of this project seems within reach. So please take care, and may health be with you over the next months. And we will be seeing you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.